What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com.
Here are my DFS picks for NFL Week 2 top DFS picks.
These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button
And hit that bell icon
so you don't miss our new videos.
In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for this week's NFL slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, NFL Week 2, let's take a look at these top DFS picks starting at the quarterback position. I like Aaron Rodgers from the Green Bay Packers playing the Detroit Lions, who have the 6th worst defense overall, and they give up the 6th most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers scored 33.8 fantasy points in Week 1. He got 1 rush attempt. He was on the field for 97% of the snaps. He was on absolute fire, connecting with Davante Adams 17 times. They make an excellent stack here in Week 2. Aaron Rodgers is $6,900 DraftKings salary. He's $1,000 more on FanDuel, projected at 17 fantasy points here in Week 2, but I think he scores at least 20 fantasy points here in Week 2. Vegas thinks there's going to be 47.5 points scored in this game. They have the Green Bay Packers favored by 6, so a relatively close game here. Fantastic matchup. I think Matthew Stafford from the Detroit Lions can keep this a game, keep Aaron Rodgers on the field throwing the ball. So I like Aaron Rodgers here versus the Detroit Lions. Okay, let's take a look at the running back position. I'm going to save a little bit of salary here with a running back that I think is going to be fantastic here in this 2020 NFL season. I like Raheem Mostert from the San Francisco 49ers playing the New York Jets, who have the 9th worst defense overall. And although they were pretty good versus opposing running backs in Week 1, Raheem Mostert averaging 25.1 fantasy points per game on the season. So he scored 25 fantasy points in Week 1 off of 15 rush attempts and 5 pass targets. He was on the field for 60% of the snaps. He's projected at 12.3 fantasy points here in Week 2. He's $6,400 DraftKings salary and 100 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 42.5 points scored in this game, with the San Francisco 49ers favored by 7. I think the Niners get up big here on the Jets. The New York Jets lost their running back, Le'Veon Bell, who may not make it back here in Week 2, so that's a big blow to their offense. I think Raheem Mostert is going to get a ton of rushes, so I like Raheem Mostert here versus the New York Jets. Real quick guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all the tools for NFL, MLB is still going, NBA is right around the corner. This is a great time to get in and try everything for 1 month. The tools are all about saving research time. You can see the last 3 games, the fantasy points per game, the targets they got per game, so you can see how involved they are in the offense, the rushes they got per game. Seeing all this stuff on one screen helps you save time and make better picks. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups. Okay, let's take a look at the wide receiver position. We already mentioned him here, Davante Adams. He is the highest priced wide receiver here in Week 2, but for good reason. He got 17 pass targets and scored 45 fantasy points. He is pretty much the offense for the Green Bay Packers, so nothing else to say there. Go ahead and get yourself some Davante Adams. But if you want to save some salary here at the wide receiver position, I'm going to go with Marvin Jones Jr. from the Detroit Lions playing the Green Bay Packers, who have the 5th worst defense overall, and they give up the 4th most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. Marvin Jones Jr.
scored 9.5 fantasy points in week 1 off of 8 pass targets. He was on the field for 91% of the snaps. He's projected at 14.3 fantasy points here in week 2. He's only $5,700 DraftKings salary and $700 more on FanDuel. So we know Vegas thinks there's going to be 47.5 points scored in this game. They have the Detroit Lions trailing by 6. So I think it's going to be a shootout here. Matthew Stafford is going to be throwing the ball to Marvin Jones Jr. all game long. I think he gets a ton of targets. I love to see that he got 8 targets in week 1. I think it's going to be more the same in week 2. Fantastic matchup. So I like Marvin Jones Jr. here versus the Green Bay Packers. Okay, moving on to the tight end position. I like Hunter Henry from the LA Chargers playing the Kansas City Chiefs, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall, but they give up the 5th most fantasy points to opposing tight ends. Hunter Henry scored 12.3 fantasy points in week 1 off of 8 pass targets. He was on the field for 80% of the snaps, projected at 11.5 fantasy points here in week 2. He's $5,100 DraftKings salary and $1,000 more on FanDuel. So I like that DraftKings price. Vegas thinks there's going to be 48.5 points scored in this game, so a high-scoring game with the LA Chargers trailing by 8.5. That's why I like this play. I think Hunter Henry has a great game script here. They should be playing from behind. He should get plenty of pass targets. It's a nice matchup. So I like Hunter Henry here versus the Kansas City Chiefs.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video.
Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smickety smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NFL slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again and good luck.